Josh, I'm sure you're looking forward to the fight. Have you seen much of James Tennyson in the past?
Yeah, I've watched him for a while actually. I've seen just probably when he was coming up a bit, just used to follow the box track kind of around the world. So I paid attention to them, but seeing some of his older fights, I like the way he fights. It's a fun guy to watch.
Yeah, he's been stopped 3 times, but since he moved up to lightweight, he's looked extremely good. You're a career lightweight. I mean, will that have a big factor in the fight? Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He's a strong kid, right? I might be a bigger guy than him, but definitely like he's got the power in it. So I don't know how much. I'm not a massive lightweight. I don't think so. I don't know how much it'll affect the fight. We both got to make 135, right? So.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously you mentioned his power. He's a terrific hitter. How do you sort of avoid getting on the end of some of his big shots on Friday night?
Just got to be sharp and turned on. The thing is he really likes guys to sit in front of him, so you got to keep him off balance a little bit, and a little bit of lateral movement. Like guys have done really really well with him in parts, but a lot of them exert too much energy where he kind of catches up with them in the long haul, right? I thought Gavin Gwynn did a good job too, and he would close distance so that he couldn't punch sometimes. You got to kind of mix it up though, a little bit of lateral movement and a little bit of just taking away space.
So you've got to stay on your toes in and box clever against them?
Definitely, yeah. At points, there's going to be points in the fight too where you definitely need to get the guy's respect where he doesn't need to just keep coming in. You know what I mean? You got to get that respect there. So that's the plan is early to not get caught up in anything crazy and then pick my shot so that he can slow down as the fight goes on.
Brilliant. And can I just ask finally, obviously you've got an Irish name. What are your Irish roots?
Yeah, my grandfather was from his grandfather was from Ireland. We don't really know a whole lot about where we're from or nothing. My grandfather's dad died when he was very young, and there's not really a whole lot. We've tried to look into it before, but not a whole lot of knowledge about it.
Mm-hmm. But it's always obviously something you've been aware of, like throughout your life.
Yeah, and I had a chance to travel down to Cavan when I was younger, and I got to train there for a bit, and I got a lot of friends there and stuff. So I feel like I have a lot of connections over there that I'm friends with and stuff now, but I wouldn't know where my family and all that would come.
About family, I mean, you mentioned Cavan. Whereabouts in Cavan? Who did you train with?
I trained with Brian McEwen, Cavan Boxing Club.
All right. And how come you picked Cavan? Like,
I'd fought John Joe Nevin as an amateur, and I really shouldn't have been in the ring with him. I only had maybe 20 amateur fights, and but my coach had asked me if I wanted to go on a boxing trip, and he's like, there's just one issue, you got to fight this kid. He's just coming off the Olympics, and I just kind of like, fuck it, man, let's go. And I think the coach took a liking to that, and just that I had some balls, and no one, I guess, in the area would really fight him at the time. So the coach said, come on down to Cavan, we'll make you a champion, blah, blah, blah. And, I had a really good time there, and the training was way different from home, and it was a really good experience for me.
Brilliant. I better let you go. Thanks very much. Best of luck for Friday night, Josh.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Andy. You can go to Ryan from Boxing Social, please.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. I just was hoping we get a little bit more background on yourself for the UK fans since you've came over here. I was just hoping you could tell us a bit about how you actually got into the boxing in the first place. What first took you down to that gym?
To a boxing gym. Well, I was a bit of a scrappy kid anyways. I was getting in fights a lot as a little kid, and I was always pretty good at sports. And but I just found as I was getting older, I was one of these little dweebs, and basketball was my sport, basketball and hockey, but I was a really small kid, so it was hard to compete with some of the guys who were a lot bigger. I wanted to do a sport that was weight based or size based, and went into the boxing gym. There were a few kids from my hockey team that were boxers, and they were doing well, and I went and I trained with their dad, and then next thing you know, I just stuck with it.
You mentioned that you tried other sports. How quickly did boxing go from becoming a hobby and something you were trying out with your other friends around to this could be a career choice for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it was weird. I remember my first boxing match. I was actually just fighting a kid from school who's one of my buddies. We set up a little tournament in his backyard, and I was the smallest kid there, and I'd won the tournament. And I was just thinking in my head, like, oh, I could do this. I could do this all right. So, you know, I remember my first time in the gym. Like, I already had ambitions as a young kid to turn pro. I think before I even, because that's what you see on TV, right? It was never to go to the Olympics or anything. It was always to turn pro. Um, yeah, that's it, really.
I believe this is your first time fighting outside of Canada as a professional. I was just wondering if you could tell us a bit how you're finding the whole bubble experience being over in the UK as well.
I kind of like it, to be honest. I think it's a lot easier. The food here is amazing. They're taking really good care of us, and I just find for back home, there's a lot of stuff in terms of selling tickets and running around with your head cut off to push tickets and whatnot. So it's a little bit less stressful. You can just kind of focus on the fight, do your training, and focus on making weight, and that's it.
How big an incentive is it for you that this is a WBA eliminator, and what has the reception been like back home as well when this fight got announced?
Back home, it's been huge. There's not many big fights going on in general. Right? There's no fights going on back home in general. So to get this fight, and it's obviously the biggest opportunity I've had in my career. It's been massive, and I've got so much. Where I'm from is not a big boxing scene, so I'm really surprised by the amount of how much support and stuff I've been getting from people.
All right, Josh, I'll pass you on to the other guys. Thank you for your time and good luck.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, man.
Thanks, Ryan. If anyone else has any questions for Josh, just drop me a message or raise the hand icon. I've seen the Boxing Source has a question there, so if you want to pass over.
All right. Given that you were talked about the past fights that Tennyson has had, have you been able to check out the Tevin Farmer fight and kind of like see something in that you would want to take notes on?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched the Tevin Farmer fight, and obviously me and Tevin Farmer are quite different. He's quite short, southpaw, very different styles. Tevin Farmer would be a nightmare to fight, style-wise. You know what I mean? So I think that was a really bad matchup just for James in general, where it's a different fight entirely. But there's things you see, and yeah, I mean, there's a lot I can take away from all of his fights, and it's just always different, the guy in front of you. So it'll be. There's a lot of things I see from the outside that could look different when you're in there. And there's a lot of things he sees from the outside that might look different to him when he's in there. So it's just kind of see how it plays out when we're in there.
Now, given that you were, fighting around the 140-pound division, how comfortable do you feel right now coming into this particular fight?
The other part about that is that in Ontario, we have same-day weigh-ins. So if I'm fighting for a title, I'd get to weigh in the day before, but I'd still have a same day weigh-in. So, a lot of the times I was fighting heavier because we don't have a day before. I feel quite comfortable. This is probably the easiest I've made weight in a really long time. And I like the fact that I'm not going to have that same day weigh-in. So I'll just be able to, fully hydrate at night, good meals all day. It'll be nice.